All information and pictures used in this video is public record and is easily accessible to anyone who looks up the topics. This video is being made for news reporting and criticism purposes. What happened to our favorite Gypsy sisters and what went on behind the scenes? Many people were fascinated with this family due to their blinged ways, their fighting attitudes, and their crazy antics. But the show was canceled in 2015 and that triggered a lot of questions from people. Why was the show canceled and what's the real dirt behind this Gypsy family? Now, the show was canceled in 2015, however, in 2014, one of the sisters, Joanne Wells, got in trouble for a huge coupon scam. Joanne was definitely the mediator when it came to altercations between her sisters. According to the website Coupons in the News, Joanne would go to Targets within Cary, North Carolina, and at one of these Targets, she befriended two cashiers who devised a plan to scam Target. These cashiers would force enter coupons that were originally not accepted by Target, and they would run fake barcodes on the merchandise, and in return of doing this for Joanne would give the cashiers gift cards worth like $100 as like a thank you for helping her. Joanne was charged with obtaining property under false pretenses and felony conspiracy. However, she was released from jail after she was able to post her bail. After being released, Joanne posted a long Facebook post addressing the issue, stating, "Hello Facebook, I've kept quiet long enough, like I always have said from the start. Ask me and I will be straight up, because if you can't accept me for who I am, you don't need to be in my life, no way." First off, let's start fresh off the press with Target and TMZ. TMZ told what they heard, not the truth. I used legit coupons like half the world, with half the people talking shit about me, but it's all good because I turned myself in because I don't got nothing to hide or run from. To everyone currently using coupons now, you might want to stop. Just a bit of friendly advice and believe that good old saying, too good to be true. I had managers check and accept my coupons. Not my problem they accepted them. I used an app called Shopkick and Target mobile app. Second off, I don't need to be told not to worry about anyone. I'm only concerned with my kids and me and don't care what the rest of the world is saying or doing. So don't get all excited thinking someone gives a shit about you, and you know who you are. If the shoe fits, lace it up and wear it. As far as the way I'm living and what I'm doing, only God can judge me, and if you love me, you're with me. If not, it's simple, you're against me. Just because I step back and don't respond doesn't mean everything you hear is the truth. I just choose not to feed into ignorance. That's all. Thanks to everyone who has had my back and is there for me through thick and thin. XOXO, love the one and only Joanne the Gypsy Princess. It's also been reported that the one and only Melly Stanley had involvement in the coupon scamming that Joanne was participating in. We will dive deeper into that in a second, but first let's discuss a major scandal that people suspected was the reason the show got canceled in the first place. One of the most talked about reasons as to why the show was canceled was due to Melly and a man that she was dating by the name of Scott. As gypsies do, they're known to get married quite quickly when jumping into relationships, so that's exactly what she did. However, one night, the police were sent to Melly and Scott's residence due to a call about the fact that a man was beating on a woman in the middle of the street. When the police walked into the residence, they immediately discovered a lifeless puppy's body on the floor. Melly's response was, "Yes, Scott got angry and was going off for no damn reason because I asked him to help me pay bills and he needed to step up and be responsible, and he threw my dog because it went to bark at him and tried to bite his leg. No one's taking up for Scott. He's in trouble for what he done and has been charged with animal cruelty. That was my innocent puppy that could have been one of my babies. He's never allowed back around me again. I got a FPO and it's staying that way." However, Melly quickly took back that statement and said he didn't mean it. The dog was supposed to be outside on its leash and it snuck in under the blanket and he grabbed the blanket and threw it and didn't know she was under it. But that puppy was my life. Then she changed her statement again and said, "Whatever, Scott never killed no animal. He was taking it outside and it ate something it should have not ate. thank you. So which story is it? Melly then began to address the rumors that the show was canceled because of her, and she said, first off, the show did not get canceled over me and Scott. It did not help with all the drama that came along with it, but it got canceled because the network felt it came to its end, so people can say Melly this and Melly that. Well, guess what? All your assumptions is bullshit. Have a nice, blessed day. Scott was ultimately charged with animal cruelty resulting in death, and he ended up never being charged with domestic battery or anything like that, although the original 911 call did say that he was beating on Melly, so I don't know how that ended. So it's obvious that Melly has horrible taste in men, but it became even more obvious that that was the case when she got caught up in another coupon scam with a new husband by the name of George Lee. He is the father to her daughter Divinity, which she gave birth to in 2016. According to Kentucky.com, Melly was arrested on charges of criminal possession of a forged instrument, theft by deception of $10,000 or more, and unlawful access to a computer. Melly and her husband are guilty of going to different Toys R Us's and Baby R Us's in Lexington, Kentucky, and using counterfeit coupons. They committed $18,075 in fraudulent purchases, and basically what they would do is use coupons which were disguised as being legitimate Visa prepaid gift cards that they would try to buy things with. And if you thought the coupon scamming ended there with the Stanley sisters, you would be completely wrong, because Tanya, another sister, got herself caught up in some scamming as well. I found an article stating from approximately June 2017 until December 2017, Tanya traveled to approximately 25 different states and purchased, among other things, third-party gift cards, including prepaid credit cards at various Kmart stores using fraudulent mobile phone coupons, which was very similar to what Joanne was doing. People always assume that this show paid them well, but obviously not if they're resorting to doing things like this. The next thing that I'm going to talk about isn't a reason that the show got canceled, but it was something problematic that a lot of people tuned in to watch. This is Annie, and you guys probably recognize her because she was one of the girls featured on Gypsy Sisters. However, she was also on My Big Fat American Gypsy Wedding when she decided that she was going to marry her first cousin. In a YouTube video that has over 4 million views, Annie explains that it's not uncommon for one gypsy to marry another gypsy that they are related to, and she didn't care that they were first cousins. Clearly, anyone with their head on correctly knows that this is wrong, so the fact that TLC was making shows about it, I don't know, I guess it was clever in a way because obviously people are going to tune in to watch it, but in a way it's also glorifying it. Not to mention, these girls are known to share boyfriends. Annie has been with Dallas's ex-husband. Dallas has been with Robbie, who is Melly's baby daddy. Dovey has also been with Robbie. Melly dated a man named Huey, and now Annie's dating Huey. It is the weirdest thing to keep up with. So let's talk more about Annie. In 2017, Annie was arrested for a list of charges, including obtaining property under false pretenses, exploitation of an elderly or disabled person's trust, conspiracy to obtain property under false pretenses, forgery of instruments, which can mean checks, and she got 2 counts of that, and uttering forged instruments, which can mean like passing a bad check. Annie was arrested with 2 other people, so I did a little bit more digging and figured out that one of the people that she was arrested with was her cousin Jet, who was also featured on My Big Fat American Gypsy Wedding when she married her husband Bubba. Now let's talk about a few of the toxic parenting ways that were featured on the show. So we all know that Nettie is a fighter, but her kids have watched her be like that as they've grown up. Therefore, they've also retained that behavior. In this clip, Nettie is on the way to fight someone, but she decided to bring a few of her young children along with her 16-year-old daughter, Dallas, who had just recently given birth to her first daughter. At one point, Nettie pulls Dallas back into the bus to, I guess, stop her from fighting, but why would you bring your daughter, who had just given birth, to an area that you know you're about to fight in. This is another fight scene where Nettie's on the way to fight someone and she's bringing her young children, including Dallas, and you can clearly see that Dallas has her baby daughter. Her children are watching from the car as she's like approaching this woman's house trying to fight her. In addition to all this, Kayla and Nettie are both guilty of screaming over the phone at each other and doing it in front of their children. I just don't understand if there's such a strict culture, especially when it comes to their children and what their children are doing, why they would take them to a violent altercation for them to watch and then later learn. Once again, this is a fight scene. Nettie runs over to a car containing Annie and Melly and is basically begging them to come out. 4 of her daughters are there about to fight, and the daughter with the blonde hair is actually a minor, and she's fighting Melly and Annie inside the vehicle. Another problem that people have with gypsies is the fact that they marry when they're very young and they have kids when they're very young. Their cultural ideas are enforced upon these girls that they should stay in the house, they should clean, they shouldn't be promiscuous, and they need to be very careful with who they talk to. However, they're also getting married very young, running off with boys at young ages, and having kids at a young age. So it's really contradictory. Despite all of these things, if you ask any of the Gypsy sisters why the show was canceled, they'll simply say that they just didn't want to do the show anymore, and the producers felt like it was time for the show to end because there was a lot of unnecessary drama that was being stirred up among the families, and it just got really old for them. Whatever the case may be, it's clear that certain factors related to the Gypsy sisters possibly put the show at risk and the success of the show at risk. We will never truly know why the show was canceled. However, we do know that this was such an entertaining family to watch, but ultimately everyone has skeletons within their closet that can come back to bite you. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe because on this channel we keep up with the Gypsy sisters and what they're up to lately, along with a lot of other reality TV show related content.